Hello and welcome to this week's Lunch Crunch. I am Jake Tlapik, as always, with the Wizard Marketing, here to answer your marketing questions every single Friday at noon Central Time. We are currently live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and LinkedIn, and just added a brand new platform. We're live on Clubhouse. So if any of those are places where you hang out, be sure to follow the Wizard Marketing in those locations and get our notifications. One shout out I do want to throw out is if you are on Twitch, be sure to follow our account because we've started to do WordPress work days, which is a period of time where we are working on WordPress websites, and you can tune in and follow, ask questions about WordPress, how to use it, tips, tricks, tools, things that we really like about what we're doing with WordPress, or just hang out, listen to some good music, because that's what we're doing. All right. Well, this week, let's jump straight into our main topic today, which is, do I need paid ads if I'm doing SEO? Quick answer is yes, you do need paid ads, but not for the reason you think. So a lot of businesses want to add SEO into their marketing strategy. That's what they think is going to be their main driver. And guess what? They're absolutely right. It is going to be the main driver for their business. However, it takes time for SEO to work. It takes a lot of time for Google to understand that your brand new website has value on the internet. It's something that people need to or want to see. And so what we can do is we can actually accelerate our SEO process by harnessing the power of paid ads. So what does that look like? Well, first of all, you need to be doing SEO. So what is SEO? That's search engine optimization. That's where you're creating content on your website in a very specific way, a technical way. Also, artistically, but mostly technical way that tells Google this is well-structured content for a specific audience. Then we need to create kind of a mind map over time using the website that lets Google know that we are the expert in whatever field or topic we talk about. So to steal something from Mr. Giddings, plumbers, they're going to write about plumbing techniques, about changes to plumbing, things you need to watch out for, how to care for your plumbing. These little tips are going to create a mind map that tells Google that this website, joesplumbing.com, is all about plumbing and is very reliable in the information that it's presenting to people about plumbing. So that's the first step, is we need to actually do the SEO and create that beautiful mind map of expertise that Google is expecting from us. Once that's done, or once we're doing that, which SEO is an ongoing process, it does not end. If you are not continually updating your website with new content week over week, month over month, year over year, Google will find you stale and they will stop showing you. You have to continue to add that content to bring the value to Google and to your potential customer base. Once you're doing SEO on a regular basis, if you have a brand new site, there's a thing called domain authority. Domain authority is basically an invisible score grade that you get that is how important your site is to the internet. So to give you an example, Wikipedia has a score in the high 90s. That's a very important website to the internet. Meanwhile, a much smaller local restaurant is going to have a domain score of, the low teens, somewhere in there, 11, 12, 13, something like that. This is not meant to be a game necessarily. Not every website needs to be important to the entire internet. If you have a local restaurant, guess what? Your your restaurant's not important to the entire internet. It is only important to people in your local area. So don't shoot for a domain score, a domain authority score. But that does tend to correlate with the trust that Google has in your website in showing it online. So what we can do is we can leverage paid ads to get people to the site and have them spend time on the site, have them use the site, explore the site, visit the site. And Google will see that even though they're paid traffic, even though we paid to get them there to the website, Google will see them looking around and exploring the site. Ooh, here's this article. Ooh, here's this little thing I want to consume. And when it sees that happening, it's going to move you up that domain authority score. It's going to trust that your content is good, even though you paid to get the people there. And so what that does is it actually accelerates our organic SEO. Our natural search engine optimization that we're doing gets accelerated, both because of the visitors and their exploration, but also because those people become aware of you, right? So there's 2 steps in building your brand. First is awareness, and then is engagement. And so we've beat that first step. That's what paid ads are great at, is we beat that first step of non-awareness. And so now they're coming to your site organically. They want to get to your site somehow. So maybe they just remember, all I remember is, 7 ways to care for your sink plumbing or something, whatever the title was. And they'll search for that, and then they'll show up to your site. And that's exactly what we're looking for people to do. We want them to be accessing the site through the search engine. And so what will happen over time is, a lot of your leads are going to be coming in. We'll go this way. A lot of leads you're coming in, and this is your like paid ad traffic, right? So it's like you start off the site and boom, you have paid ads, okay? And then, over time, those paid ads, you can start to dip those off because your SEO is going to start to climb, right? So as your SEO climbs, you can scale back on those ads. You'll get more organic opportunities, more organic leads, and eventually search will be your primary driver for leads and opportunities. It takes time though. And that's the thing that I think most businesses are missing, is that if you're just doing a search engine optimization strategy, you're doing yourself a small disservice in terms of time. If you need to get going, if you need to go today, paid ads should be a strategy that you're considering. And if you pair that with an SEO strategy, those 2 things will accelerate each other together forward, faster, and better. So, do I need paid ads if I'm doing an SEO strategy? Absolutely. I think it's highly important, especially if you're just starting your SEO strategy. Well, hopefully that's super helpful to you. Drop your questions, your Q&A questions in the chat. I'd love to answer your marketing questions. Whatever you've got this week, we'll dive into. I'll try and answer them as you punch them in. While we're waiting for a couple questions to come in, I did want to share, every week I'm trying to share one tool that we use here at the Wizard, typically free tool that can help you in your marketing business or your marketing efforts. So this week, I wanted to share something that we use in the branding process and the early website development process. And that's a tool that we call Cooler. Well, I don't call it Coolers. They call themselves Coolers. And what Coolers is it is a palette generator. So what does this tool do? Well, let's say that you have a logo and you've got some colors in it, but you want to figure out like a good color palette to use for your website so that your website looks on brand, or it looks cool, or just generally feels like a good, beautiful experience. But color theory is complicated. Color theory is difficult, and understanding how we blend certain colors and what actually matches, monochromatic versus triad, all of these things can be confusing. So let's make it super easy and put this generator together. So what this generator does is I can hit the space bar, and every time I hit the space bar, it's going to give me a brand new color palette that is mathematically color balanced. All right. And there's a couple ways you can use this. All right. The first way you can use it is simply the way I'm using it, where I'm just hitting space bar and I'm cycling through different color palettes until I find one that maybe I like. Or you can upload an image and it will allow you to extract a color palette out of that image. But here's the coolest thing about coolers, all right? Let's say I'm spinning through here and I find a color that I just love. Oh my goodness, I love this peach color, okay? Right here, this one that's kind of behind my head. First of all, I'm gonna grab it, I'm gonna drag it and reorder it and put this right in the middle. I love this color, this is my favorite color, we're gonna use this. But I need more colors. So I can hit this lock button here. And now, every time I hit spacebar, it's going to keep that color in my palette design. All right? And I can expand on this as I continue to lock in colors. So maybe I like this kind of onyx color. And now we're starting to get a little bit more narrowed down. We like this beige. Maybe we only need 4 colors. We'll just come over here, kill this color out, and now we've only got 4 colors in our trend. And we're gonna finalize, just kind of spin until we find something we like. Let's say we like this red. Oh, I spun past it. Crud. Well, I can just simply go back and get my color back. And this is a quick and easy way that you can create a color palette for whatever you're doing. Likewise, like I said, you can upload an image. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's say I'm making something out of, here we go, tropical smoothie. I'm going to upload their picture. Here you go. It's going to extract the colors out of tropical smoothie, and I can actually help it out. So I want that gray, I want that yellow, I want more colors. So let me grab this green and then open it in the generator. And there you go. I've got a quick and easy color palette straight from that logo, and I'm ready to go. So if you're a designer and you're designing as well, this is a great tool for you to be able to make color palettes for documents as you make them for your clients. Highly recommend it. That's coolors.co, coolors, COOLORS.co, that tool. All right. Apparently I started recording locally. I'm gonna stop that right now. Okay. Again, jump into the chat, throw in your questions, let me know what I can answer this week. While we're waiting on that, we do have a new segment that we want to share. Okay. We're gonna bring in a guest marketer to talk about something that they find extremely important. I say the word extremely because this segment is called Extreme Marketing. Extreme Marketing. What's up, brah? I'm Chet, and we just out here straight killing it every single week, And if you ain't on TikTok, man, you're not fire. That just ain't bet. So get straight bussin' and get on TikTok like straight away, yo. You hear me? Bet. Extreme Marketing. Thanks for that, chat. That was really helpful. I agree. I think that everybody should be getting on TikTok right now. It is one of the top channels for marketing that's available to us right now. And so if you didn't know this, TikTok is actually the most visited website in the world. It's past Google. Google's owned it for many years. And now TikTok is the #1 resource on the planet for visits and viewership. So TikTok's a great opportunity. There's lots of niches to get into. So if you have a niche, if you have a specific group or a specific offering that you can access, TikTok will allow you to get into that in a very simple way and give you kind of the tools to go viral. That's kind of the neat thing about TikTok, is that there are tools to go viral within it. So you should, if you're not on TikTok, you should get on TikTok, and you should follow The Wizard Marketing on TikTok. And we put out content every day, whether it's slightly comedic or whether it's very, very useful marketing tips. Excellent. All right. Well, one last thing I wanted to cover that people ask me a lot is, why don't you recommend using Wix? So if you don't know what Wix is, let's talk about Wix. So Wix is a WYSIWYG builder, or what you see is what you get website builder. What that means is it's a low, no code way to build a website. So if you have no experience in building a website, you don't know where to begin, you don't know what to do, you can go on Wix, pick from one of their templates, drag and drop a couple things around, and make a passing website. Now, there's a couple things that I personally avoid with Wix. Let me state this. I don't think Wix is bad. I don't think Wix is bad. I think that the idea that Wix is the last website you'll build is the bad idea, because Wix should be a very nice entry point. It's super cheap. It's easy to get a website spun up really quick. They've got some simple tools that work great. Their forms are simple. You can take people's money over on the internet simply. There's not a lot of options, but it all works. It's kind of like Apple, right? Wix is like the Apple of website builders. It all works. You kind of got the bumpers up, and you have to operate within those bumpers. But if that's enough to get you going, then that's great. My issue that I have with Wix is that people think once you've built a Wix site, that it should be the last website you'll ever need. And I just disagree with that. The reason for it is because your website needs to grow and adapt with your business. It's going to get better and stronger and faster, just like your business as it grows. And your website should be able to have access to every opportunity to close deals for you. And when you're on a Wix site, that's not necessarily available to you. Now, this is not an advertisement for WordPress. I think that there are a lot of faults that WordPress has as well, mainly being that it's hyper bloated nowadays. There's a lot of noise, a lot of garbage instructionals and things that they look fancy, but they really ruin your website performance. So there's a lot of problems with WordPress too. But if you want a site that isn't custom coded, right? So if you didn't know this, you can pull up Notepad in your computer. You can pull up your Notepad and you can make a website. If you know how to write PHP, HTML, and CSS, which again, that might mean nothing to you. If you know how to do all that, you can go and create your own websites from scratch without any help from WordPress or anything like that. If you don't, you need help. You need some kind of interface, a WYSIWYG interface, to build your website. And Wix, like I said, it has a limited set of tools, whereas WordPress is much broader, okay? And the key with WordPress is, if you decide to move over to it, know what you want your website to do, research the best tools to get that done, the fewest tools to get that done, and then utilize those effectively without creating a ton of bloat on your website. If you want to know more about WordPress development or how we go about designing websites, please follow us on Twitch, follow us on YouTube, hit the notification bell, and we go live 1 or 2 times a week with WordPress Workdays. And what that is it's simply one of our designers sitting, designing, and building on WordPress. And what that does is you can watch the process. You can watch how we go about building a site and take it, use it. Everything we do, you can take that and use that for your own purposes, your own WordPress site that you want to build. And ask us questions. We're just sitting there working. We might as well help you out too. So please tune in to our WordPress Workdays and build a site. Build a site. It's super fun. It's super rewarding when you get around to doing it. And you're really going to like the control that you have over, say Wix. If you need somewhere to host that site, let us know. We have hosting options that we can help you with. And if you are hosting with us, we give you an hour of support, direct support every single month. So if you want us to just jump in there and design something for you, or you want us to kind of coach you through how to do something, that's absolutely something we can help you do. All right. If you have a question, please jump in the chat. This is your chance. If not, we're going to wrap up today's lunch crunch and head into Father's Day weekend. Very excited. Hopefully you've got some great plans. We had a great week this week. We did a couple WordPress workdays, and really the site that we're working on right now is turning out to be one of our top tier sites. It is absolutely gorgeous. So tune in next week as we continue to work on that site and see some of the design philosophy, see what we think is trending, what we think is good, why we think it's good, how to put together stuff for mobile, and build your own site. You can do it right alongside of us, right? You just pull up your other window and you start ticket-tacking on WordPress. Call us up for hosting. Love to do that for you. All right. Well, I appreciate all of you this week. We had a great time on the Lunch Crunch, just hanging out, talking about marketing. The whole thing is that, actually, we do have a question here. Let me hop back and answer this. So Dane, Great Dane Live says, do you recommend tailoring your adverts based on where they are? So when you're doing advertising, if you have never done it, most advertising includes the ability to do regional targeting. And it really comes down to how you define your target market. So what is a target market? Target market is your identification of who is going to purchase your product. Now, we've talked before about target market and target buyer and how they can be different. In this scenario, let's just say they're the same person. So if your target market is in a physical location, or there's a physical identifier that separates them from non-buyers, you should absolutely be using location-based advertising. Examples. If you're a local business, don't run your ad nationwide. Run it in, 5-10 mile radius. It depends on what your business is, right? So if you're like a cleaners, like laundromat and cleaner, probably 5 miles because there's a lot of them. Okay. Whereas if you're something more like a restaurant, like a high-end restaurant or something like that, maybe you want to go 15, maybe even 20 miles. People will drive. I mean, I know I used to drive 30 minutes over to Schaumburg to go eat at some better restaurants because they were just outside of my local area. And so by identifying those targets, you can talk, don't spend your ad nationwide if you can't sell there. So targeting your ads is extremely important. And maybe we need to do a whole lunch crunch on what targeting looks like in paid advertising, where you can do paid advertising. I mean, there's so much. One of the coolest little advertising avenues, and I'll share this right now before we head out, is I don't know if you ever heard of Waze. So Waze is a map alternative to Google Maps or to Apple Maps. It's actually owned by Google now. They purchased it, so it's Waze by Google Maps. People still use Google Maps. I still use Google Maps. I don't always use Waze, but sometimes Waze can be good. It's kind of more of like a social. It's almost like if Twitter had a baby with Google Maps, but they have drive-by advertising. So ready? So here it is. So let's say you own a restaurant and you're on the corner of a stoplight. You can advertise to people who are sitting at that stoplight with their Waze app open. And it's super reasonable. The pricing on the advertising is super reasonable. So that's a fantastic way because that ad pops up and says, hungry? Let's get Joey's barbecue. And you look over and you see, oh my gosh, look, right there is Joey's barbecue. And then you kind of remember it. And that's a touch point. And we can talk about marketing touch points at some point as well. You need an average of 28 touch points to convert somebody from a cold potential lead into an actual lead or a buying customer. So that's just one more touch point that you can put onto these people. Hopefully that answers your question. Great Dane. Yeah, absolutely. Great lunch crunch this week. Some really fantastic knowledge getting dropped. Thank you to Chad for stopping in for some extreme marketing. And his advice on TikTok was extremely valuable. So we appreciate Chad so much. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it. Hopefully you do something fun for Father's Day. And don't forget, again, to follow us on all of our platforms on Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Hit the notification bells. Follow us for our WordPress Workdays. And we will see you next week. Keep marketing. Have a good one.